Hello everyone, this is part 30 of What If Naruto was exiled after he brought Sasuke back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. It was late, the moon hidden behind clouds. At the Namikaze estate, Naruto was finding it hard to sleep. His mind kept going to his new friend Hinata. Something bugged him. He could hear his brother's snores from across the hall, and knew that Mikahamaru was out for the night. He sat up and pulled on his pants and shoes. Mom's going to be mad, but I need to. He didn't even finish the thought as he slipped out of his room and down the stairs. He paused to make sure that no one in the house was awake, then unlocking the door and slipping away. It took him some time, but he managed to make it to the Hyuga estate that was on the other side of the Naras that lived across the way from the Namikazes, but avoiding the Uchiha police patrols had taken the child time. He remembered his mom mentioning there was some big shot in town over a treaty signing. He was coming around the corner when he was bowled over. The figure went flying and the large sack was dropped, making a squeaking sound. Damn kid, the masked man snarled. Naruto heard shouts and saw Hisashi leaping over the wall. Stop him. He's KPED Hinata. Naruto rounded and saw the man snarl and make his way to grab the sack, which meant that it was Hinata. Not my friend, the blonde thought, and he tackled the man around the knees like Obito taught him. Damn it, you little s. Let go, the masked man said and backhanded Naruto hard. But it did its job, and bought Hisashi the time needed to catch up. He was about to strike, but the man threw Naruto at him. Hisashi was forced to alter his strike, and instead of king the masked KPER, it hit a point that paralyzed him, as he struck and caught the blonde at the same time. Naruto, what are you doing here? Hisashi asked the boy as he set him down. Then shaking his head, wait a moment, he said, and went to the sack and opened it to find a bound and gagged Hinata. He took the gag out and started removing the bindings. Are you okay? Did he hurt you? He asked her. No uncle. I am okay. Her eyes went to Naruto. Is she okay, Hisashi-sama? The blonde asked. She's okay, a bit shaken up. If not for you, the KPER would have gotten away. The elder Hyuga said as the blonde crouched next to Hinata. What's going on here? Hisashi demanded. Several Anbu appeared, hearing the disturbance. The nin on the ground, KPED Lady Hinata. I was in pursuit, and thanks to Namikaze-sama here I was able to catch up and... Hisashi looked at Naruto and snarled. Get away from her, demon. Naruto frowned and Hisashi, upset, grabbed him and lifted him in the air. I don't want you near my daughter, you little monster. You did this. He snarled and his hand went to strike Naruto. Hiashi. No. He turned to see his wife and more Hyugas coming up. Put Naruto down, she said as she walked forward. Hisashi did, but his gaze rested on the masked nin next and he dropped Naruto roughly and moved towards the man, his hand ready to strike. Hold it right there, Hisashi. All turned to see the third Hokage along with a very irate-looking Kushina. That man is to be taken to Ribiki. He broke into private property, and KPED my heir. I have the right to, Hisashi began, but it was Kushina who cut him off. Drop the injured party, Hisashi. You don't care about your daughter, on the prestige of having an heir. As for the person that KPED her, well, he is in Konoha streets. Anbu, take him to Ribiki. Sarutobi ordered. He looked at Naruto, who was with Hinata and her mother, and was going to say something, but Hisashi was incensed seeing the boy with his daughter hanging onto his arm. Damn demon. Get away from my heir. Hisashi lunged and was nearly upon Naruto, but his way was blocked by Hisashi. Enough, brother. No. Hisashi snarled and activated the caged bird seal, and Hisashi went down in pain, clutching his head. Hisashi grabbed Naruto and hoisted him up. I will do what the Yondaime should have done. Keeping you alive is a mistake. Hisashi, stop, his wife said, but he backhanded her. You are worthless. You gave me daughters when you should have given me a proper son for an heir. But don't worry, I will correct that mistake. Kushina, the Hokage and Lady Hyuga noticed his look at the masked nin. Don't, Lady Hyuga said, but Hiashi went to strike Naruto. He gasped however and looked down to see a kunai rammed into his belly. His eyes trailed to the hands holding them and saw they belonged to his daughter. Hi Hinata. The Hyuga heir was shaking as her mother picked her up and Kushina picked up Naruto. The two women hurried the children away, leaving the Hokage and Hisashi standing over Hiashi's body. Get a medic. The Hokage called out. XX. How is he? Kushina asked. He had a seal on him. The Hokage said that it amplifies anger and rage, causes delusions. Hitomi Hyuga said as she sipped tea with her friend the next day. Hiashi is recovering under the Hokage's personal healer and only I and the Hokage are allowed into the room. She looked at Kushina. Who would do this to my husband? He was a caring man. I have a clue as to who. Think who has to gain with Hiashi either losing face or getting ked. Hitomi looked at her and sighed. The elders. Kushina sighed and looked at her. I was speaking with Ibiki after he reported to the Hokage. The man was the ambassador from Kumo, the one we just signed the treaty with. What? He had orders on him to Kei Hinata to steal the Byakugan, and he had a map of the compound. What? But that would mean. Kushina put a hand on Hitomi's. He's named 3 elders. They wanted you and your family out of the way. Ibiki just finished with them before we met. Their plan was to poison you and manipulate things towards their favor. Hitomi was in shock. They needed to get power to put someone in the seat on the council that would vote and put issues in their favor. Hitomi closed her eyes, then they snapped open. Hinata. She's safe. She's with Naruto and Mika, and they have the best bodyguards in all of Konoha. Kushina said. XX. Why am I letting you do this to me? Obito asked as Mika had him hanging from the tree. Off to the side Rin was laughing and even Itachi had a slight grin on his face while Mika, Naruto and Hinata had him suspended from a branch. Because you promised to do anything to help cheer up Hinata-chan. Naruto said with a grin as he jumped down. They were in the park, the sun overhead told them that it was several hours before the civilians visited and that was fine for them as they were about cheering Hinata up and when the boys suggested using Obito as a target for paint bombs, she had giggled at the description Naruto had told her and agreed. Obito cursing himself for never being able to break a promise. Of course it's a good thing to teach the imps. He thought. Yo, cousin it, how about a hand? Itachi looked at him. I told you not to call me that infernal nickname. He then walked up and corrected Hinata's aim before she could throw the first paint bomb. There, you would have missed by a margarine. He said and she smiled when the yellow balloon filled with paint impacted on Obito's torso. The bright green looking harsh against the yellow of his shirt. The children laughed and the adults smiled while Obito howled about it being his favorite. Then you shouldn't be wearing it on duty. Rin said as she handed a paint bomb to Mika who got a grin. Mika, buddy, pal. Come on, who's your favorite uncle? Obito said. The redhead paused, then grinned impishly. Itachi, he said and with a spin lobbed the balloon and Obito managed to close his eyes and mouth as the balloon impacted with his face, leaving a bright purple paint. Who filled these? Obito sputtered. Kushina. Rin answered as she used a Suten jutsu to wash his face off, but leaving the shade of purple there. Naruto and Hinata threw a couple more balloons. Obito was looking like a rainbow covered with orange, blue and red paint. Mika was getting ready to throw when a sound drew their attention and they all turned to see a girl standing there. She had pink hair. She had her mouth covered and they could tell the sound had been the start of a laugh. Hello, Mika said. Hi there, Rin said coming forward. She recognized the girl from the boys' time at the park as the one who had been bullied by the other kids. Mika saw her and offered her a balloon. Would you like to join in? Hey, Obito protested, but was ignored. I can't, the pink-haired girl said sadly and stepped back. My daddy says I'm supposed to stay away from you. Really? Rin asked. Did he say why? The girl shook her head rapidly. Rin crouched down. Who is your daddy? She asked. Bama Haruno. Sakura said. Rin tried to place the name. It was Itachi who spoke up. A middle-class merchant on the civilian council. He is rather loud. Rin remember him now. He had demanded Kushina hand her children over for execution and called them demons and Kushina the demon's whore. He lives because Kushina was too busy dealing with the bulls with Danzo. Rin thought. Well, what he doesn't know, she said leadingly. What's your name? Mika asked. Sakura. the girl said and pushed her bangs out of her face. Sakura Haruno. Come on. Uncle O is acting as the target. He led Sakura over and handed her a balloon. Just throw it. Sakura threw it, but it went wide and hit the grass. Obito breathed a sigh of relief. That's a good first attempt. Mika said and gave her another after looking at his brother and Hinata. Both nodded. Here like this, he said and showed her how to throw it underhanded. Sakura mimicked him and both balloons hit Obito, Sakura splattering his legs. She laughed at the lurid neon green paint. See? Fun. Try again, Sakura-chan. The four kids spent an hour throwing balloons before the barrel that Kushina had filled ran out. Lunch. Rin said. Sakura looked sad. You want to come with? We're heading to the ramen bar. I don't have any money. Sakura said looking down. That's okay. Come on, my treat. Rin said and Sakura's eyes said it all. Poor girl. Her father is a merchant and leaves her to run wild while his wife is at the council meetings trying to ruin Kushina's life. Rin vowed this girl wouldn't be alone. And from the looks Mika was giving her, the redhead would make sure his new friend learned to have fun as well. As the group walked away, Obito, still hanging from the tree, called after them. Mika, Naruto, Rin, Cousin It, come on guys, get me down from here. The paint is drying and it's starting to itch. 3 years later. Konoha Council Chambers. You can't mean to allow them into the academy. One of the civilians said, leaping to his feet, his ponderous girth resting on the table before him. Shut up and sit down. The civilians have no right in ninja matters. Hiashi said. 3 years of seeing a Yamanaka mind healer had done a drastic turn around for the head of the Hyuga clan. The fact is, that the Namikaze twins have every right to enter the academy, and unless you have a real reason not to allow them entrance, then speak up. But if you idiots spew any more trash about them being demons, I will close off your lungs with a Juken strike for wasting our time with your foolishness. Hiashi said. Kushina bowed her head in thanks to him. As soon as that seal was removed, Hiashi was a new man. He actually went to his knees in public and apologized to Naruto and Mika, and then he did the same to his wife and Hinata. After his release, there had been a cleansing of the Hyuga house. The Council of Elders were executed, and the cage bird, while couldn't be removed, was altered to not cause pain like it had in the past, but to protect the Byakugan, and all members now sported the mark on the backs of their NS instead of the foreheads. Valid reason. They're demons, the fat merchant said. The temperature in the room dropped as the clan head scowled. Don't you think, Kushina said, her voice going cold, and those that knew her wondered if the merchant was going to be leaving the room in a body bag. That if they were really demons, that by the way you idiots treat them they would sue you all for your actions. Well, the merchant puffed. That if you struck them they would lash out like the Kyuubi did and level the village. Kushina continued. That's just because the Kyuubi's power was split between them. Another merchant spoke up. Oh, so you're saying my husband was stupid? Her voice went flat. You sing his praise every October and throw a party, but at the same time you try and K his children. When he asked that, you think morons see them as heroes. The merchants backed up in their seats. Hiashi chuckled, as did Chum Inuzuka and the Inoshika Cho trio. Kushina. The Hokage said softly. There will be no bloodshed in this chamber. The merchants breathed sighs of relief. It's so hard to get the stains out. Drag them outside if you're going to K them. The merchants looked on in fear. The Hokage stood. If this is all you will do during meetings, then I am afraid I am disbanding the council, until at which time I can pick new councillors who will take their responsibility of doing the job of advising and helping with the paperwork, and not trying to start rumors and hire assassins to K the children of a former Hokage who is to protect this entire village, while you all huddled in fear in a shelter. The Hokage stood. This meeting is adjourned. The merchants left muttering darkly. Kushina heard the fat one swear it was the Kyuubi brat's fault and he'd get even. Not if I don't K you first. Kushina thought darkly and took a step towards him, but the Hokage called her back. A moment please, Kushina. She sighed and nodded. XX. Konoha Central Park. Hiashi looked on as his eldest daughter played with the Namikaze twins. His youngest daughter was with her mother, and Hiashi paused to thank Kami every chance he had for freeing him from doing serious harm to his family. His gaze found Hisashi and his son Neji. Neji played with the children, while at the same time acting as a guardian. Hisashi saw his brother and gave a smile. How was the council meeting? Hiashi's grunt was the answer. The Hokages threatened to disband the council. Hisashi shook his head. The civilians were in rare form, I take it. Same as always. They wanted the boys killed. Kushina will take only so much before there is blood. She was the ruler of Whirlpool before she married Minato. Hisashi looked at his brother. I nearly lost him over that K-ping. He found the plans by the Council of Elders. It led to a series of executions and changed the way the Hyugas ran themselves. How was their first day in the academy? Hisashi asked. One of the teachers tried to kill the boys. Neji managed to delay it until Itachi and Obito arrived and dealt with the Chunin. Hisashi sighed. Was this one of Danzo's or was it someone with a grudge? Hisashi sighed. A Chunin who lost his teammates and family during the Kyuubi's attack. He looked at his brother. What are you doing here? Hisashi shrugged. Kushina is with Hitomi and Hanabi. Hisashi smiled. If you wish I will stay with them now. I just had to check with Obito and Itachi. He nodded and Hisashi saw the Uchiha cousins in the shade of a tree. Where is Itachi's brother? His father picked him up. He did not want him socializing with the Namikazes. Hisashi said. Fugaku asked me to give you this. He handed Hisashi a scroll. The clan leader unrolled it and after reading it frowned. He can't be serious. What? Hisashi asked and took the scroll and read it. Damn Fugaku. What shall you do? Hisashi took it and looked it over again. Decline. Hinata's already made her choice. He nodded his head and the pair watched as the 8-year-old Naruto caught Hinata and swung her around while she shrieked and laughed. Good. Hisashi said. At his brother's look he explained. Because I'd hate to be around you if you'd agreed to the marriage contract and told Hitomi and Kushina. Hisashi winced. He'd heard his wife and the Namikaze widow speaking about Naruto and Hinata since they first met. I'd ask you to Juken strike me before they found out. Hisashi laughed. You think I would deny them their justice? I'm your brother and clan leader. Hisashi said in mock dismay. Against a woman of Hitomi-sama's stature you are on your own, my brother. Hisashi said. XX. Next day. Konoha's Ninja Academy. Naruto shook his head as he watched his brother talking with Sakura Haruno. The pink-haired girl acted two ways. When her family wasn't around she was friendly and playful. When anyone from her family showed up she would yell and try to hit Mika who would dodge away. Morning Naruto-kun. Hey Hinata-chan. The blonde said with a grin. He saw Neji heading for his own class and gave the older boy a wave and got a nod in return. Mika-kun's going to get hurt. She said sitting down next to him. I know, but he says it's to keep Sakura out of trouble with her father. He's a big merchant and on the council. The Chunin instructor came in followed by Rin. Naruto and Mika waved to their adoptive aunt-out officer out if bodyguard. Settle down class. The man said. Replacing Kento will be Rin Inu. Uzumaki. Rin said. Her uncle had disowned her and Kushina had adopted her into her family. It was one of the reasons Rin lived at the Namikaze house. Uzumaki. The man said. She's on loan from the medical corps and will be helping us as we continue with the year's lesson plan. Rin smiled disarmingly. Good morning class. She said. We'll be starting today's lesson with the human anatomy. XX. Outside. Give up. Itachi intoned. Never. Obito said. Sai, you're doomed with your obsession. Itachi said to his cousin. HN. Obito said as Itachi watched him sitting in the tree watching the classroom with a spyglass. She's going to kick your ass. Itachi intoned. Go suck some pocky. Obito hissed. Besides, I'm making sure Naruto and Mika are safe after what happened yesterday. Itachi shook his head. Rin is in the room, and both boys have their panic buttons. The panic button was put together by Obito. Breaking it open would be like setting off a flare as it was a wad of chakra and once broken it would activate the seal on Obito and Itachi's wrists. So, how's the bastard? Obito asked. He sent an offer the other day to the Hyuga for a marriage between Sasuke and Lady Hinata. Obito fell out of the tree. What? Itachi gave him a look. Do you know if they accepted? Obito asked feeling very nervous for Naruto who thought the world of Hinata and he could tell she thought the same of the blonde. Father was not happy. Itachi said. He's ordered Sasuke to speak with Lady Hinata personally. He seemed to be of the opinion that Hisashi had tampered with the offer. Obito snorted. He needs to be told a lot more. Itachi knew there was no love between his cousin and his father. I told Sasuke that it would be ill-advised. He said that father was expecting a report upon his return home. Obito groaned knowing this was a fight waiting to happen. I hate to say this but your little brother comes off demanding and abrasive, hell he sounds like your father and he's only 8. Itachi sighed and had to agree. Sasuke was sounding more and more like their father. You think he will provoke Naruto-kun? I don't think cause. I know it. Naruto and Micah have Kushina's temper when provoked. Itachi nodded. He'd seen the boys over the years. He remembered a year ago when a couple of the civilian boys, a couple years older, pushed him around. They took it. Then the bullies got the idea to push Hinata and Sakura, who had been passing by, into the mud. The beating the boys gave the older bullies had resulted in the civilian children keeping well away from the pair whenever they were in the park. Children from ninja clans played with them and that suited the pair fine. Your little brother is antisocial. I don't think I've seen him around any of the kids his age. Obito said about his little cousin. Father keeps him around the compound, training constantly in family matters. Obito looked at him. You make it sound like he's grooming him as the heir. He is. Itachi said, his tone even. What? That's bulls. Has he given a reason why you're not being listed as heir? Itachi sighed and nodded. He's talking of disowning me, as I agree with the Hokage and stick up for the Namakazes. Obito snorted. If my family was higher ranked in the clan, you can bet he'd try something with me. Since my folks are S, it would take the whole clan council to kick me out, and he'd need a better reason than protecting my sensei's family. Itachi nodded. There are times I envy you. Really? Obito asked. Itachi nodded. Huh. Obito responded, then looked at his watch. Man, it's not even an hour. I bet the kids are bored. Probably, but it is required. Obito shook his head. I can't believe they upped the graduation age to 16. He looked up at the second-story window. I mean, I nearly went crazy when it was 11. Needed. Too many genin were S young. This way they get a better rounded education. Itachi said. Yeah. And not everyone is a prodigy like you or Kakashi. Obito said. How is he doing? Itachi asked. He likes Anbu. Obito said with a shrug. He keeps asking me when you're going to be taking up a new squad. I prefer to stay around here and protect what's important. Itachi said. I found missions to the border or other lands was dull. You. Obito laughed. You're such a softie. I don't seek adventure and excitement like you. Itachi said. True. Besides, the missions I get as a Junin are more than enough. Obito said. Hey, can you see me as a Junin instructor? No. Or, come on, I think it would be fun. Hey, I know, I can talk with Kushina and see if I can get in when Naruto and Micah graduate and become their instructor. Obito said, bouncing from foot to foot. Itachi sighed. I weep for the future genin. He said blandly and turned away to hide his smirk as his cousin mock wept at him about being mean. XX. Lunch. Naruto said, bounding out of his seat. Hinata smiled as she followed, bringing the lunch she'd made earlier. Hinata, Micah, Naruto, Kiba, Shikamaru and Choji sat under a tree near the door. Man, I didn't know there was so much to know about a human body. Micah said as he slumped against the tree trunk. Shikamaru was already laying back and doing his favorite pastime and watching the clouds. Choji, who'd made friends with Shikamaru, offered some chips as Hinata opened the box and passed out sandwiches to everyone. Naruto shook his head. And to think Rin-ne-chan said nothing this morning while we were getting ready. Micah smirked. I think it's cool though. How so? Kiba asked. Well, by knowing where everything is and what it does, we can be better ninja. I mean, think about it, I stick you here. I could make you bleed slowly. While subbing you there will KO you instantly. Or here would disable you. Kiba giggled as his friend poked him in the places indicated. You sound like you want to be a medic. Micah shrugged. His eyes widened. Sasuke's coming this way. The group as a whole looked over and saw that Micah was right. Sasuke was coming their way. He stopped several feet from the group. I wish to speak with Hinata, he said. She's having lunch. Naruto said. He and Micah had met the Uchiha prince several times over the years, and they'd never gotten along yet, no matter how many times Itachi tried. It's personal clan business and has nothing to do with you, idiot. Sasuke said. Naruto was on his feet. Want to say that again? You're an idiot, Sasuke said. I guess the butt kicking I gave you last time wasn't enough. Sasuke said as Naruto moved around the other side of the tree. Naruto-kun, stop, Hinata said. She had an idea what Sasuke wanted. Her father and uncle had spoken to her last night after dinner and told her about the marriage offer from the Uchihas. She remembered her eyes widening and found it hard to breathe, but her father has assured her that he declined it. She remembered feeling relief and her mind had flashed to an image of Naruto. What is it you want? She asked. I'd rather speak in private, Sasuke said. If it's about the marriage offer, then there is nothing to say. My father and mother declined. Sasuke's fists clenched. I think we should talk. There's nothing to say, Hinata said. My father has given me final say on who I shall marry. And it's not you. I think it best you rethink that choice, Sasuke said. He made the mistake. He reached down and grabbed Hinata. Naruto's shout and tackle carried them clear over Shikamaru. Naruto wasn't even using taijutsu, he just pummeled Sasuke, his fists flailing. Obito and Itachi had watched it all, and they weren't too surprised when Naruto attacked. They both rushed over to pull the boys apart. They saw the Chunin from the classroom making his way over, and he was closer. This is going to suck, Obito huffed. This one agrees, Itachi intoned as they hurried across the campus. The Chunin instructor grabbed Naruto none too gently and threw him against the tree. He pulled a kunai, and that sealed his fate. Rin appeared behind him, her chakra scalpel slicing his spine in two. She stepped around him, her eyes were cold. That was cool, Micah said. Obito stopped several paces back. Damn Rin. That was wicked. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.